Okay. So now everybody can see my slide?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, for today, even we already in week 4, but we are still in Maxim 2. So insyaAllah, if I can speak, I will speak. Okay, so Maxim 2 is al-yaqin la yazulu bisyak. Al-yaqin la yazulu bisyak. Okay, yaqin, yaqin la yazulu bisyak. 3 points here. The first one is yaqin, second one is syak, yazulu and syak. Yaqin la yazulu bisyak. Meaning that yaqin in Malay word is yakin or in English confidence. Okay, confidence. Okay, yaqin. La yazulu zala, from the word zala is turun or eliminate or reduce. Zala kan? Nuzul Quran, turunnya Al-Quran. La yazulu. Yazulu meaning tidak diturunkan. Al-yaqin tidak diturunkan atau tidak dihapuskan. Bisyak. With, we is with. What is my cursor? Okay. Ba here with, syak is ragu-ragu, uncertainty. Okay. Okay, in other words, the literal meaning of yakin is actually the knowledge, our ilm, that is not tainted by any doubt, our real knowledge, which is basically this knowledge refer to the revealed knowledge, knowledge about the Al-Quran and Sunnah. And we can also translate the knowledge from other perspective also, knowledge, our knowledge on the class schedule, our knowledge on anything. Okay. And then the technical meaning of yakin, a strong conviction in accord with reality, okay, that something is a certain way with no alternative possibility being credible. Meaning that that's the only way. We are so certain, strongly we are certain on some things. Because why we are confident, so confident with certain things, okay, because we have the knowledge. That is why the literal meanings of yakin is the knowledge. If we have knowledge, then we are certain on that. The thing that make us become uncertain because of we have no knowledge. We have no knowledge about that matters. Okay, we have no knowledge about when is the final exam will be started. Then we become uncertain about the date of examinations. Uh, and then regarding the solat prayer, we have no knowledge. We don't know. Meaning that we don't know. We don't know about the prayer time. So that is why we are uncertain whether we have to perform the prayer or not. Okay, at particular time. Okay, because of knowledge. Okay, that is why the meaning of yakin is related to the knowledge, the ilm. Yeah, and then syak. Yakin and syak. Syak literal meaning is doubt, suspicious or uncertain. A state of indecision between the relative likelihood of two divergent possibilities. And then syak is uncertain. Okay, if we have no knowledge, we don't know, then we become uncertain. Okay, but al-yaqin la yazulu bisyak. So the knowledge is not overcome, it's not overcome by doubt. Okay, we have no knowledge, the doubt cannot affect our yakin, our certain. So usul fiqh scholars state, okay, yakin is at the extreme limit of certainty. So certain, no other alternative, no other things that can affect the level of yakin. And then syak is the midpoint of certainty and uncertainty. Memanglah sebab we don't know, we don't have any information, any knowledge. So we become sedap, syak, 50-50. When one of the two possibilities becomes more likely, between the two, yakin and syak, okay, it is called zan. It's not yakin yet, okay, but it's zan. more likely to be maybe between a right and a left side. So we are shocked when we do not know where which one to be decided, okay, right or right or left. But if we have slightly certain to choose the right one, then it is zan. But still, it is not achieve the level of yakin yet. Okay. According to basically Shafi'i, Mazhab Shafi'i, the Shafi'i scholars introduce this maxim, propose these maxims, and this maxim is adopted by majority of the mazhab. And then the conditions of the maxim, the first one is the certainty and doubt should both be about the same case and about the same point of that case. So if we want to practice this maxim, al-yaqin la yazul bi-shak, okay, the certainty and doubt ni, yakin dengan syak ni must be about the same case. We cannot decide between fasting and prayer. No, it is about the same things. Okay, now we want to make a decision which one to follow. Okay, whether let's say prayer times. Okay, so the case is prayer time. We are so doubtful. Okay, now we want to find whether we want to perform a prayer or not. So we must seek the informations and the knowledge about the really the prayer time itself. Then we find at Google, for example, or we ask others, or we follow the sign, the sunlight kan ada shadow. It is a traditional method to know whether the prayer time is already there or not. Okay, so we find the certainty. The certainty here refer to the knowledge, the information. So when we have the information, then we become certain, so we can decide to perform the prayer or not. Okay, so it is about the same case. Okay, and the second one, the certainty and doubt cannot occur at the same moment. You cannot like how to decide the prayer time if at the same times you are certain and at the same times you are doubtful. Kan? So tak boleh, cannot occur lah. Dia macam possible lah kan to decide. So basically certainty is followed by subsequent doubt. Okay, so they must be certain. So after that, then you become doubt. So how to decide? Make sure yourself is certain first. So the subsequent doubt is not overcome. Cannot overcome the yakin. Cannot. Okay. That is why a yakin la yazul bi-shak. Certainty is not overcome by doubt. Even after that, you become doubt. So the first thing is you are so certain. So you perform. So after that dah lah. It's not, tak kira dah. The third one is that there should be a consequence to apply the maxim. So after that you can decide, okay, whether to perform the prayer or not, based on the knowledge. The knowledge that can determine your certainty. So a fact established with certainty remains until another fact is established. So if you already get the information, the knowledge that make you certain, it is remain until you get or other people come and tell you that the sources of information that you refer previously, it is not true. So that one will not overcome to another fact is established. If no other fact, then you can stick with your first decision here. Okay, any doubt that occurs regarding what is known, any doubt that occurs regarding what is known certainty has no power to replace that certainty. So now memang the uppers level of certainty. So anything that comes, memang people be which is so doubt, there is no true sources of information about it. It is not, it can't replace the certainty. Okay. So doubt which comes later is weaker than certainty. So certainty is cannot be overcome by doubt. If a person is in doubt of anything, he should ignore the doubtful and affirm the certain. Like that usual occur when the occurrence where during our solar, then sometimes the shaitan just come and said to our heart that actually you forgot to perform your ablution, wudu. Then you become doubtful, isn't it? Okay. So if a person, but you already performed the prayer, for sure at the initial stage, you have performed the ablution, you have certain. So that's why you perform your prayer. So you perform. But suddenly in the middle of prayer, the shaitan comes and bring the doubtful to your heart. Okay. So if a person is in doubt of anything, he should ignore the doubtful and affirm the so certain things are stronger than doubts and take precedence over them. That's basically the spirit of this maxim. This maxim is actually the objective of this maxim is actually to make us yakin. Yakin in whatever we do. Any doubtful that comes later is not counted. Okay, ni surah Yunus verse 36. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa ma yattabi'u aktsaruhum illa dhanna. Inna dhanna la yughni min al-haqqi syai'a. Inna Allaha alimun bima yaf'alun. Most of them wa ma yattabi'u aktsaruhum. Aktsar is banyak. Yattabi'u is follow. Wama yattabi'u aktaruhum illa zan. Most of them follow nothing but conjecture. Oh, zan. Zan ni. Zan ni doubtful jugalah. Benda is something that is uncertain. Zan. But conjecture, the zan itself can be of no value. Inna zanna la yughni. Yughni from ghaniyun. Ghaniyun kaya. No value. La yughni, no unvaluable. No value minal haqqi syai'ah. It is unvaluable to reflect haq, the truth itself. Inna Allah alimun bima yaf'alun. Allah is the knowing, the most knowledgeable, or know whatever that we do. Bima yaf'alun. Okay, so what I want to say here, most of us, okay, follow something that is we do not know, azan, not certain. The uncertainty is actually have no value to reflect the truth. Okay, so what we can reflect here, because we are now is the technology age, and we are so close with the social media. So most of us relies on the social media, all the news. Basically, when the thing that we realize, or most of us realize, having uncertainty. Okay, do you agree with me? It is uncertain. We do not know whether uh, the news is true or not. Kan? Okay, and the uncertainty actually no value, cannot present the truth itself. So many fake news over there, outside there. Okay, but most of us would love to follow it, love to hear, love to read, and love to share. Kan zaman sekarang kan, everything is viral, but the thing that is viral, we do not know whether it is correct or not, unless we are certain. How to make sure the news is certain? Basically, we have to find the sources. Okay, the sources of information, the true sources. Let's say the number of COVID-19 affected numbers kan. Okay, maybe one of the people just spread the news that today it is 10,000 victims of affected by COVID-19 without cited where is the sources that they get, whether from the KKM, Kementerian Kesihatan or not. Okay, so when we look at the figure, wow, it's 10,000 in the spread. 10,000 is worse now. It's worse now. Everybody follow it, but no clear sources. It is from KKM. Okay, it is actually stated in the Quran. Uh, that is why this maxim comes stated that al-yaqin, when we have knowledge, then it is not tainted by the shak. So knowledge first. If we have knowledge, then we are certain, then that's represent the truth. But if we have no knowledge, the correct information, the sources informations, then we are in the zone stage, or uncertain stage. That uncertain will not reflect the truth of the things, the matters or the news itself. Okay, and then Allah knows siapa yang buat tu, siapa yang create the zone. Allah tahu. Okay, so it's stated in this surah. Okay, so in the hadith from Sunan Abu Dawud, okay, ni hadith Prophet lah. If one of you has doubts during his solat about how many raka'ah he has prayed, he should disregard the doubt and build upon what he is sure of. Selalu macam tu kan? Sometimes, okay, ni dah rakaat berapa ni? When he is certain that the prayer is complete, he should prostrate sujud twice. If the prayer was complete at the times of doubt, the extra rakaat and the two prostrations will be considered as a voluntary prayers. If the prayer was deficient, the extra rakaat will complete it, and the two prostrations will be a basement for the giver. Okay, bila dah terlupa tu, sujud lah. Okay, sujud sahwi. And if we are doubtful, we just pray extra. If the extra is actually the extra rakaat, it becomes a voluntary, tak kisah. It's better to have a extra rakaat rather than shortage of rakaat. If the prayer was deficient, the shortage of rakaat, the extra rakaat will complete it. Okay, so this is from the hadith, meaning that is already happens during the Prophet times when maybe when people ask Rasulullah, what should I do when I have a doubtful on how many raka'ah that I have performed during prayer. So this is the answer from Rasulullah. Okay. Okay, so another hadith from the Prophet. Okay, the Prophet Muhammad SAW was asked about a man who gets the impression that he may have broken his ablution during his prayer. He said and Rasulullah said he should not leave the prayer unless he hears a sound or detects a smell. So one man came to Rasulullah and asked, okay, if I have doubtful whether I have broken my ablution or not, so you should find the proof first. Rasulullah respond, you should find the proof. The proof is the knowledge lah. Knowledge about something, sounds or detect a smell, then the broken ablution, then you should leave the prayer. If nothing, tak ada lah. And then narrated from Ibn Abbas, the Prophet SAW came to Madinah and the people used to pay in advance the price of fruit. Okay, this one we may reflect the practice of Islamic banks when they want to about salam contract. About salam contract. Do you know what is salam contract?
Yes.
Okay, we pay first, then the goods will be delivered later on. Kan? Macam sekarang kita ETA, expected times of arrival, or yelah kita book first, pay deposit or pay full, and then next month. So the seller need to inform the buyer when the goods is ready, when the goods will be delivered to them. Everything must be certain. How many, the quality, everything. So in the hadith, the Prophet SAW came to Madinah and the people used to pay in advance the price of fruits to be delivered within 1 or 2 years. Okay, so they are in doubt whether it was 1 or 2 years or 3 years. But we delivered within 1 or 2 years. So the Prophet SAW said, advise whoever pays money in advance for dates to be delivered later should pay it for non-specified weight and measure. And another quotation for a non-specified times period. That is why when we want to involve a salam contract, everything must be specified. The weight and measure, the quality, the color, it depends on subject matter lah, what is necessary. All the information related to subject matter must be known, made known to the buyer or to all parties in the contract, including the specified time period. Kalau 1 or 2 years, which one? 1 or 1 year, then stated 1 year. 2 years, 2 years, no or. Okay, so that is why the seller when they want to open a booking for certain macam clothes ke apa ke furniture, they have to specify November, which date of November, is it 15 November, 30 November, okay, and then the color, everything must be specified so that they achieve the certainty level, yakin on the contract. Okay. Okay, this one, okay, now we have arrived to the example in fiqh and Islamic finance. So example in fiqh, for example, zakat. Anyone can relate the zakat practice with this Maxim?
How?
How? Cepat. Fikir sikit. Mana pun kesel ni. You all clear? Apa?
The payment, the time of paying zakat.
Okay.
Maybe for those who receive the zakat, you should know whether the people is poor or not. You should remove the certainty.
Should know how much, kan? Takkanlah you approach you go to the Majlis Agama Islam and then you inform them, I want to pay zakat. So how much? Isn't it? And then how much? How to determine how much zakat that you should pay, so that you have to have knowledge how to calculate the zakat. How much? Zakat is 2.5%. Do you know that? Kena tahu. Bukan whatever money that we have, they just pay zakat macam tu. At least the minimum is 2.5% over our wealth. Is it over the total wealth that we have? No. Okay, there are two important points to measure or to calculate zakat, which is nisab and haul. Okay. So haul is the tempo period, basically 1 year. So every year we have to pay zakat. So we have to know that. We should know that. And then nisab. Nisab is nisbah. Okay, how much? Okay, the nisbah is how to calculate the nisbah. Nisbah is equal to 85 grams of gold, the value of gold. Let's say 85 grams of value of gold equal to 15,000 ringgit. Sebab now value of gold maybe 200 plus 1 gram. 1 gram is 200 for example. Kalau 10 grams, 2,000. Kan? Okay, 85 grams of gold darab dengan the current price of the gold. Okay, so usually 15,000. That is 15,000 is nisab. Meaning that the level of our wealth. Okay, so if our wealth, what is our wealth is including our cash. So we have to total up our cash, simpanan, saving at bank, our investment. Let's say we have investment, we total up our wealth, and then the value of the wealth, if exceed 15,000, we only pay zakat. Let's say we have wealth 20,000, but the nisbah is 15,000. Okay, so the balance is 5,000. That is only the zakat that we need to pay. Not 5,000 but 2.5% over 5,000. Sikit sangat. Okay? So basically that's knowledge that we should know before we calculate how much zakat that we should pay. Okay. So meaning to say al-yaqin la yazulu bisyak. People say that if you have paid your zakat after calculate all everything based on the advice from the zakat officer. Okay, we call apa nama dia? Mutawali. I dah lupa dah. Okay. If after the officer have calculate zakat for us, then your friends comes. Oh, you calculate wrongly your zakat. You're not paying your zakat yet. But you have paid based on your knowledge, based on the informations that the officer gave you. So that cannot, that full cannot eliminate your state of zakat payments lah. Al-yaqin la yazulu bisyak. You are already certain with whatever amount that you should pay to calculate the zakat. Okay, so that is why in fiqh issue, if you want to perform, especially with regard to the ibadah, especially with regards to the rukun Islam. Rukun Islam, rukun iman. Okay, so if you have performed based on your knowledge, based on the informations that you have, the information must be true lah, true information. So the doubtful that comes later on cannot affect your level of certain. Okay, sama juga if you have performed prayer, you are so certain with the raka'ah. But after you give salam, your friends come. Oh, that they said to you, you pray extra raka'ah. Or you have shortage in your raka'ah. But in yourself, you already certain. Okay, certainty is not overcome by doubt. So how to achieve the level of certain? So that we have to have the knowledge, because yaqeen meanings knowledge. Okay, so that why we are uncertain, because we have no knowledge about it. Okay, let's proceed with the next example. The second one is missing for a long time and unknown whether still alive or not. Like a case of MH 77 I dah lupa.
37.
373. 37?
37.
370. Okay. So like that case or any case, if we're missing our siblings or the wife missing her husband, so how to make decisions whether the wife have to report the case, how to report the case, macam to apply for the apa nama dia, cerai ke apa kan. So if the missing case, so how to ensure we are yakin? So based on the proof. Okay, based on the proof, based on the report. That is why when the MH case happened, okay, we are waiting for the news. So the governments or the army find all the proof that can prove that these peoples already are missing. Then the next stage can be proceed, like to apply for insurance. So insurance can proceed their task, okay, to calculate how much insurance for all the victims' family. Okay, so for the missing case, so in order to ensure yakin, the certainty, so the knowledge or the proof on that matter should be fine. Okay. Okay, so far clear?
Yes, madam.
Dia
Okay, so the third example is fasting. Fasting. Senang je fasting ni. Can anyone explain? Baik. I tengok you all. Fasting.
The time for azan subuh.
Okay. Apa lagi? Explain lah.
Niat puasa.
Niat puasa. Explain please.
The time when we supposed to recite our niyat.
Apa maksudnya tu? You only tak nak explain lah. Explain sikit.
Maybe we unintentionally skip the sahur, and then the morning we wake up and we like dah niat belum macam tu.
So macam mana tu nak tahu itu dah doubtful tu uncertain. So how to achieve the certain?
We niat for 1 month.
Yeah. And then how to recall? Kalau macam let's say kalau puasa, if for Ramadan, if you forget to set the niyah, sebab it is a compulsory fastings, so our fasting is not counted, isn't it?
Yes.
So in order to achieve the certainty level, we must have knowledge. Okay, what are the methods that can affect our fasting? Okay, forget to niat, for example, forget to set the niat, and then we are we break our fast early from the time, or we terlepas waktu sahur, something like that. Okay, so need to have knowledge, so we are certain. Okay, maybe some people do not know what are the things that can affect our fasting. So that is why during your secondary or primary school, you in school, in the textbook or in the subject of pendidikan Islam, kan, ada tentang faith, ibadah, so everything is taught to the student, kan. So that actually will reflect our knowledge on our religions. Will reflect our the certainty level, our certainty levels on performing the ibadah. If we have no knowledge about it, then we have to seek knowledge. Okay, so now even at Facebook, so many ustaz and ustazah conduct online tazkirah online class, isn't it? So learn, and then so that we are certain in performing the ibadah. Even reading Al-Quran, we can learn tajweed. Okay? So in order to make us certain how to pronounce this word, how to baca kan, read a certain Al-Quran text, nak dengung ke tak, nak panjang ke tak, and learn. Okay? So it can increase our certainty lah, our yakin to read the Al-Quran, our yakin to perform the fasting. Okay? So what happens if we do not know, we are uncertain, so we stick with the state of yakin. Okay, yakin ke tak? So when it happens, we azan which one to decide whether to continue our fasting or not. So we ask ourselves on that matter, so that we become certain and proceed with the ibadah. If we are uncertain, then we susah lah nak perform ibadah. It can be our ibadah is not acceptable, kan? So we have to always make ourselves certain. Okay? Okay, next solat. Solat dah tahu tadi kan. Madam give example just now about solat. If there is, and also in the hadith, if we are uncertain suddenly, then we have to pray additional raka'ah. Okay, and then we basically have to decide the level of certainty tu. Okay, and then continue the ibadah. And in Islamic finance context, for example, debt or financing payments, okay, in this case, like say we receive financings from the bank, vehicle financing, we want to buy a car, okay, and then the bank instruct us to pay a monthly installment. Okay, and then we have paid the monthly installment every month for 1 year, for example, but suddenly we receive a letter from the bank that stated that we do not pay, uh, do not pay for the monthly financing for a certain period of time, for example, for 3 months, we do not pay, but basically we have paid. So how to ensure, uh, how to inform the banks that we have paid to them, to make them certain that we have paid the installment. So we show show them a proof of payment, proof of payment. Let's say proof of payment lah, the receipt ataupun a soft copy of apa nama dia, the receipt, the transfer receipt. Okay, this is in Islamic finance, in banking punya example. And second one is mudarabah arrangement. So mudarabah arrangement basically involve in investment, because mudarabah is partnership. Okay, mudarabah is partnership. Basically the banks adopt mudarabah contract in investment, whereby the Rabbul Mal, the owner of the fund, is the customer, and the bank become mudarib, and profit is shared between them. But in case there is a loss from the investment, okay, if there is loss, basically the Rabbul Mal, the Rabbul Mal will suffer. But in case of the loss of the investment because of the misconduct or the financial negligence by the banks as mudarib, so they have to bear the losses. Okay, but in principle in mudarabah, the loss should be paid by the Rabbul Mal, but because of certain situation. Yeah. Okay, so how to relate this example with the Maxim here? So how to decide who should pay, who should bear the loss? So need to have a proof stating that it is misconduct by the bank. If there is no proof, so we back to the principle of mudharabah, where the customer have to bear the loss unless there is a proof. So the level of certainty will achieve lah if there is a proof. And in case of auditing by income tax authorities, okay, so the income tax authorities will come to the bank, and basically first the bank have before they pay the tax, the business tax, the banks will have internal accountants to calculate everything. Then they calculate how much the tax that the bank should pay. So after that, so the auditor, the income tax authorities, the auditor will come to find all the proof, the documentations, proven that, okay, based on this certain profit, okay, proof of profit that the banks have, and these are the calculations of tax, and these are the total income tax or business tax lah that the bank should pay. So the proof, the documentation. And then in salam contract, based on the hadith, in salam contract is allowed based on the hadith. So basically, in Islamic contract, especially for buy and sell contract, so buy and sell contract, the pillars, okay, the pillars of buy and sell contract is parties of, the first one is ijab and kabul, okay, offer and acceptance. Second one is the parties, buyer and seller. If there is only one buyer, no seller, so it is not, the contract is not valid lah. Sebab ada seller je, ada buyer je. So siapa? Because buy and sell contract is exchange contract, bilateral contract, exchange contract between two parties. Okay, and the third one is subject matter. The subject matter must appear, must owned by the seller, must be certain, must appear at the times of the contract. Okay, kalau nak jual kereta, the car must be there in the contract. We cannot say that I want to sell the car that is still in the factory, or I want to sell the car that I will buy next year or next month. Okay, we cannot say that. So the subject matter must appear. And the fourth one is the price. The price must be determined. The price must be fixed, must be clear at the times of the contract. So basically that's the pillars of buy and sell contract in Islamic, in Islam lah, regarding Islamic finance or non Islamic finance. But in salam contract is buy and sell contract. It is buy and sell contract, but the subject matter is not appear yet. By right, it is opposite to the pillars of Islamic contract because the subject matter is not ready yet in the times of contract. So why salam contract is allowed? So based on the hadith, Rasulullah advised that you can perform the salam contract provided that the all the specification, the subject matter, details on the subject matter is specified clearly to the parties, together with the price and together with the times of delivery, when the subject matter is ready or can be delivered to the other party. Okay, so that is why salam contract is currently practiced. But I think salam contract is practiced but only on certain products. Okay, by the Islamic bank. Okay, so far are you clear with the example?
Clear.
Alhamdulillah, clear.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I think okay, ada lagi sekejap. Okay, the next one is, this one is the branches of this maxim. Okay, the main maxim is al-yaqin la yazulu bi-shak, and the branches of the maxim is like no consideration is given to conjecture, and that is obviously tainted by error. Freedom from liability is the pre-existing and therefore prevailing state. Freedom from liability is pre-existing. Okay, the basic rule is that a thing remains in its original state. The presumptive rule is that transitory attributes do not exist. The presumption is that a development of legal significance is only of recent occurrence. Unlikely possibilities are given no consideration. This one, all this maxim is actually relates with yakin, certainty, and shak. Okay. I think because to explain each of these maxim we need to have more times. I think you can read at the textbook itself. So because okay, to explain also I need to bring different examples. Okay, so I think it is just enough for you to know and understand the parents, the main maxims. These are only the example, the branches that can be applied or practiced to different contexts. Okay, so that's all for this maxim today. Okay, so do you have any questions so far with regards to the maxim? Ada tak any example or any cases that you have faced before that can related, that you can relate to the maxim? Ada tak? Pat cakap.